Tapos, si Purdy from Pasay Tap. Hello sa inyo. Good afternoon.
Yeah, we also have JP joining us from the marketing department of Philinvest. So do let us know where you're calling from or what organization you are representing this evening. We also have issues from Quezon City. I'm also calling from Quezon City. Ikaw ba, Daphne? Nasaan ka ngayon?
I'm calling. I'm calling from Batangas.
Ayan, may mga taga Batangas.
So, baka may taga Batangas dyan. Hello po sa inyo.
Yan. So keep them coming. Just send them all in the chat box. Ayan, si Anthony, sabi niya na-miss daw niya yung first webinar. Don't worry, you can quickly go to our YouTube channel and review the first. We also have Jacqueline joining in from SSS. Si Mirzi naman is from Price Gas. Wow. Jocelyn is from NGCP La Union. Good afternoon, Jocelyn. Yan, so while you're all typing in the chat box, we'd like to invite you to share with us this afternoon. How would you describe your February so far? So choose 3 words kung paano. I think this is very similar to what we did last January. So we'd love to know how you all are doing. And Daphne, baka pwede ka pa magbasa sa chat box ng mga nag-type?
Actually, may nakita ako dito. Doon ko nasaan. Mary Stacy. They are in Melbourne. Wow. So they're watching us from Melbourne. Hello. Wow, worldwide.
Ayan, si Marie from Batangas City din.
Hello.
Yan. So while we're waiting, tingnan natin. may 2 responses. Ayan, 5. So may nagsabi, pets sa the peligro na daw. Some said they're feeling great. Very big yung stress. So again, when you type in a word and nakita nyo na malaki siya dun sa mentee natin, ibig sabihin, madami kayong nag-enter. So, ayan. So we have blessed, lovely, and yun yung 3 biggest words that we can see here in our menu.
Meron din tayo dito from the Zoom chat box. May nagsabi dito na feeling productive, happy, and loved with my February. Wow!
Galing. Kevin is also joining us. He's in the room. Hi, Kevin.
Hi, Kevin.
Kevin is our Chief People and Product Possibilities Officer. Parang mali pa yata yung sinabi ko. I think we have a lot of participants joining us. Galing sila sa SSS and NGTP from different regional offices. Good afternoon. Yan. So, ang ganda. Ang dami nating words na nakikita, no, Daphne? Pero mukhang nag-emerge talaga yung grateful, blessed, happy, loved. Pero humahabol din yung stress.
Lovely.
Diba?
Yes.
Yan. Juanito is from Caraga State University, Kabataran Campus. He's feeling productive. O siya ba yun? Siya ba nabasa mo? Productive.
Actually, yun. Siya yun.
Ayan.
Meron dito from Antonio Jr., hot daw.
Ano ibig sabihin ng hot na yun? Kasi totoo, kanina lang pinag-uusapan namin kung mainit ba, kung nasaan sila ngayon. So here in Luzon, apparently it's hot, pero we also have our intern joining us from Visayas. And sabi niya sa kanila naman daw makulan. So hi Mari. Okay, so we have 3 minutes left. If you have colleagues, classmates, friends who you think will benefit from our topic this afternoon, please let them know that there is still room here on Zoom. And if ever maubos na yung seats natin because we can only accommodate 1,000 for this afternoon, please tell them that they can join us on YouTube. And so good afternoon, Cherry, Levina, Helen. We also have Deborah joining us from SMPC Davao City. Si Tina naman, sabi niya, it's entertaining and engaging, di ba? How's our February?
Sabi naman ni Julius, ang kanyang February daw ay fast-paced yet productive. Wow.
We celebrate that with you, Julius. Maayong hapon rin. Rona says, tiring but productive and happy. So I think that's something naman, Daffy, na lahat tayo talaga. Parang never namang mawawala na pagod tayo.
True. Ako nga parang yung February ko, hindi ko alam kung ano nangyari, pero parang pagod ako.
Then, I feel the same way. Sinasabi ko nga rin kanina, pag-gising ko, parang wala akong energy. Kaya thank you for your energy, Daffy. I need that ball of sunshine energy this afternoon. Yan. So we have a minute left. Please do let your friends and colleagues know that we're starting in a minute. We're really excited for our topic this afternoon. Actually, parang ang lahat ng topic and speakers that we have lined up for 2024, we're really excited to learn from all of them. Yeah, thank you for giving us time this Wednesday afternoon and the rest of the Wednesday sana of 2024 para sabay-sabay tayong matuto sa ating mga learning session. Si Alessia sabi niya, yung pagod hanggang April.
Advance na. Nakaschedule na yung pagod.
I can relate. Parang February pa lang ba talaga? Yeah, I think we can now start. Thank you so much, everyone. So we can see that in the room, a lot of you are feeling grateful, blessed, happy, loved. Even if we are experiencing stress, even if we found February challenging, there's really, alam mo yung, they really go hand in hand. And the parang best way to deal with it is to find the balance in both. Ayan, thank you so much, everyone, for joining us this afternoon. So, I'm Gabby, and I'm the Learning and Development Officer of Positive Workplaces. And joining me this afternoon is Daffy. Go ahead, Daffy.
Hi, my name is Daffy. I am a training and development intern for Batch 13. And I'm joining you this afternoon together with Joyce and Mary. Mary is my co-intern. Say hi to them also in the chat box.
Thank you so much, Daffy. So please give a shout out to Daffy and Mary because they are our interns and nakita nyo naman na they have been supporting our free webinars kasi kasama to sa training nila. Okay? Ayan. So Joyce and Mary, can you also give us a quick hello in the chat box para they'd also know who to contact if ever they have questions during this afternoon's webinar? Okay, so we are Positive Workplaces and we co-create cultures that enhance the well-being of the Filipino workforce. So we emphasize the word co-create because we are not the experts of the cultures in your own organization. So we just bring in the expertise on workplace well-being, leadership, positive psychology, so that we can learn how to apply those concepts in the culture that you already have. And we do that through what we call the positivity ripples. And it all starts with leading the self. So by you attending these webinars, investing time and effort talaga para matutunan natin yung iba-ibang concepts, that's one way of leading the self. Because when we are able to apply these and show them to others, that's when you are able to lead others, lead cultures, and create what you call the positive workplaces. So I'll turn you over to Daffy for just some quick reminders for our webinar this afternoon.
So now, for the reminders, before we start the webinar, have another device with you kasi we'll be sending links for interactions like Pigeonhole for the Q&A and Mentimeter for an activity para ready kayo makaparticipate. Don't worry, kung wala kayong another device, we'll also be sending the links in the chat box later. Kaya it's totally okay if the device you're using is the same device for these interactions. Have also with you a paper and pen and get ready to take notes of what you learned sa ating discussion. For sure, marami tayong matututunan today and pwede nating mabalikan yung mga ito by taking notes. We highly encourage engagement with the audience, but please be reminded lang din to be respectful to everyone. Okay? Then we have the link for the evaluation form will be given at the end of the webinar for those in the Zoom room only. So make sure to stay until the end to be able to get your e-certificate. Also, in filling up the evaluation form, tandaan nyo po ang acronym na TEN, which stands for title, email, and name. Make sure na yung title is the same ng sa webinar for today. Your email should also be working because that is where we'll be sending your e-certificates. And lastly, make sure your full name is spelled correctly since your e-certificates are automatically generated. Some reminders lang din po. If you have any concerns about evaluations or certificates, you may email us at engage@positiveworkplaces.org. We will only entertain inquiries up to 1 week after the event. Please be kind to Joyce and most especially when sending your inquiries in general kasi we are also accepting a lot of inquiries then. So please be patient and kind to everyone.
Yes, thank you so much for that reminder, Javi, especially yung pagiging kind kay Joyce when you follow up in the email. Kaya, yan, I think we're ready to start. So this afternoon, we are going to continue our conversation about building emotionally intelligent leaders. So last week, we had April. Okay, we had April Salonga discussing maximizing feedback in the workplace and its impact to performance. And I'm pretty sure na ang daming nakarelate dun sa mga, ang daming nakarelate sa tips na binigay ni April. May nakatanda ba kung ano yung acronym na binigay niya whenever you are trying to give feedback? For those of you who were able to attend the webinar, di ba meron, yan, tama si Gian, it's BIN. Okay, yung bin. Ano ibig sabihin ng bin? May nakakatanda ba? Ano yung BIN? Sige, Gian, reclaim your behavior. Okay. Ano pa yung N? Behavior, impact, and ano yung next steps. So, congratulations. Ang daming si Evie Mir, binigay niya rin ko ano yung BIN. Mary Seth also said the same. I hope you were able to apply this in the past week. No, and in the future, when you are going to give feedback to either your higher ups, to your workmates, or kahit nga sa friends nyo, or even to your loved ones, di ba? So behavior, impact, and what are the next steps? So this afternoon naman, we are going to focus on what we call Puso sa Pamumuno, how to design productive workplaces with empathy. Because, di ba, pag pinag-uusapan kasi natin minsan, yung pagiging empathic, parang hindi natin nakikita kung paano siya tatahiin na we are still going to be productive. Parang we just see empathy as, dapat mabait tayo sa isa't isa, o kaya dapat iniintindi natin yung isa't isa. But it is actually possible to tie those two together para we can have empathy work for us so that we can also be productive in our workplaces. And this afternoon, we are joined by Selena and Gerson. Okay, so it's really our honor to introduce our resource speakers this afternoon. So Selena is a learning experience designer and advocacy manager at Habi Education Lab. Her roots in early childhood education inspire her to bring more authenticity, creativity, and play into adult learning spaces. As a higher education teacher, she uses authentic projects, peer learning, and storytelling to create participatory learning spaces. Outside teaching and learning, she is a self proclaimed serial hobbyist who at the moment is into mushrooms, thrifted furniture, meditation, and tea. She finished her BS in family life and child development from University of the Philippines and her Master of Education in Early Childhood Education from Monash University.
Joining her, we also have Gerson, who is fascinated with the intersection of design and learning, which led him to start Habi. As the executive director, he makes sure Habi's work is aligned with the purpose. Well designed learning experiences to build a creative, informed, socially just, and healthy society. His current obsessions include design ethics, organizational structures, and parenthood. He holds a BA in film from University of the Philippines and a Master of Education in Technology, Innovation, and Education from Harvard University. Recently, he joined the 2022 Asia Pacific Leaders Cohort of the Obama Foundation.
Yan, so join us in welcoming our speakers this afternoon, Selena and Gerson. Hi, Selena. Hi, Gerson.
Hello.
Hi everybody, magandang hapon po sa lahat. Hi Jers.
Hello.
Magand-
Hi, Selena.
Hi Gabby.
Salamat sa generous introduction, Gabby and Daffy. Thank you. And thank you also for inviting us. Yeah, to your community, napaka-rich actually ng community ng positive workplaces, nakakatuwa. The chat, if you're watching the recording now, baka hindi yung nakikita yung chat, it's exploding every second, parang may dumadating na bagong chat message. So yeah, let me just prepare the screen for our presentation.
And
Yeah.
while Jerson's doing that, gusto ko lang po i-share na ako po ay classmate ng karamihan sa inyo dito. Nakita ko parang may mga suki sa webinar. Ako, uma-attend din ako ng webinar ng Positive Workplaces. So, nagkataon, today I'll be one of your classmates na parang magre-reporting tayo or mag-sharing naman ngayon. Happy to be here. Thank you. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thank you. So yung ikukwento namin sa inyo mainly siguro po para ano ba, disclaimer but also to say parang the general scope like what Selena mentioned. A lot of these are gonna come from our own personal experiences as leaders. Ano yung mga natutuhan namin sa pagbuo ng hobby, ano yung mga systems that we designed in place and how we actually continue to strive for empathy. Tulad nga nabanggit ni Gabi kanina, empathy, hindi lang naman siya sa pagiging mabuti or mabait or malambing or compassionate, but it also bridges a lot of, aspects of relationship building and thinking about others, as well as becoming a good human, being a good human being and kindness. So, pakilala siguro muna kami. Actually, gusto kong ipakilala si Selena. So, maybe Selena, you can introduce me as well as leaders as well. Since nabanggit nga namin, we'll be sharing some of our stories, also lessons learned um, as part of Hobby. So, Selena, sabi namin we'll introduce each other using 3 words. Tama ba? So, sige, I'll try. Selena as a leader, she is catalytic. Yan. She is intense. Yeah, in a good way. And third, Selena is intentional as a leader. Yun ang aking 3 words. So baka yung mga kwento na makuha nyo mula kay Selena mamaya or sa mga examples na ibabahagi niya, pwede nyong i-take into consideration yung mga personas na yun. Ikaw, Selena, pwede.
Ang weird pala. Ako, pasimuno ko tapos sabi ko, sige, Jerson, papakilala naman kita. Thank you for that, by the way. Si Jerson bilang leader ay mentor. Siya ay isang mentor. Um, he's a builder. Laging may ginagawa, laging may binubuo. But also, Jerson is a very kind leader. Yan.
Nice. Nice. Ganda. Thank you. So ito, like we said, parang we try to be generous with what we've learned from us as an organization. Mainly, we're gonna talk about mostly our internal lessons learned as leaders or as people who have been, leading Habi. Para rin po ipakilala rin kami, we've been Friends with Positive Workplaces also. Kami ay isang learning experience design studio. So what that means, we usually work with organizations, with companies, with schools to build learning experiences. And learning experiences could be anything. It could be trainings, workshops, programs, curriculum, resources, toolkits. Ito yung ilan sa mga ginagawa namin. We work mainly in the development sector and the education sector. At yung pangarap namin as a studio is to build a creative, informed, socially just, and healthy society. So everything that we do as a design studio, the trainings, the workshops, the materials that we build, ito yung parang greater goal namin. Like we said, parang we do a lot of these services para nakikita nyo rin so that you can get to know us a bit more. We do a lot of co-design or co-creation as well, doing online courses, coaching, consulting, media materials design, using basically design. How can we leverage good design to improve how people learn? A lot of the organizations that we worked with, baka po meron ditong members sa mga organizations na nakatrabaho na namin, whether government or private sector, CSOs, NGOs, education sector. And we try to, support as many as we can so that we can reach as many as we can in terms of the learners. Pero dito po sa talk namin ngayon, ang ikukwento namin mainly ay kung paano namin ginagamit ang design methods at mindset sa sarili naming organization. Most often, actually, we get invited to talk about the design process, how we build online courses, how we design learning experiences. But in this case, quite unique invitation siya kasi we're gonna talk about how we actually practice and apply it in ourselves. Kasi syempre kapag kami bilang service providers ng ibang organizations. Gusto rin namin na yung mga teammates namin, maganda rin yung experiences, maganda rin yung kanilang, employee experience, staff experience, team building experiences that we have. And we call that ways of working. Yung term, siguro nagagamitin rin natin dito sa talk, baka most often paulit-ulit natin siya. That's what we call ways of working. At yung iba-ibang mga bagay, mga proseso, yung mga tools that we use as in our teams as day-to-day team members in our respective organizations. So magsisimula po tayo sa unang tanong lang gusto naming malaman. Maybe you can use the chat box here. Um, if you're joining us sa YouTube live, I think you can also use the comment section as well. But we're curious, sa mga participants po dito ngayon, what parts of your organization's ways of working do you design? So curious kami, ano po yung mga dinedesenyo, yung mga binubuo ng mga classmates natin dito sa webinar natin ngayon. You can just type in the chat, what are the things that you design?
And we have some responses coming in. Ikaw ba, Jerson, ano yung parang today, what was uh, something aligned with our ways of working that you had to design today?
Hmm. Ako kanina, I designed a meeting. So how a meeting is run. So the agenda of a meeting is something that I design. Yeah,
Mm,
it's especially meetings, it's a big part of anyone's day-to-day work. So how it is designed, anong agenda, anong oras, aning panimula, anong panghuli, anong activities. That's
mm,
something that we design. Yeah.
yeah.
Ikaw ba, Selena, did you design something today? Ways of working wise?
Ako, ako feedback, I think. How to, parang well-designed feedback for teammates, I
Mm-hmm.
think. So it was a message, yeah. But I put so much thought into how to craft that
Yeah.
message.
Yeah. Ooh.
And looking
So,
at responses, meron din Jerson like you meetings.
mm-hmm.
Some mentioned workshops,
Yeah.
coaching, psychometrics, upcoming team building. So mga
Yeah.
paparating pa lang. Yan. Ano pa? Process of quality assurance.
Yeah, for
Hence
sure.
also, yeah. Minutes of the meeting, yan. Mahalaga yan. Documentation,
Mm,
maintenance methodology, reading also digitalization, onboarding is another one here.
yeah.
Co-working space.
Mm,
Co-working space.
nice.
Cap build, school-based mental health program. Yan, training modules. Ang dami.
Yeah,
And
madami.
yeah.
So, ano siya, usually kapag nagde-design tayo ng mga ways of working, it could be something as small as a touch point, like minutes of the meeting or a document, or it could be something as big as a system of, recognition, a system of compensation, budgets, all of these things, napakalaki niya. So para lang siguro ma-qualify rin when we talk about that, things that we design, kasi yung design na isang term na gagamitin natin loosely here. And when we say design, it's not just the design of the font of the document, hindi po siya ganun, but really how a system or how a tool is functioning. So whether it's the organizational design or the structure, the roles, the protocols, may mga nagbanggit po ng guidelines, ganyan. Could also be you are a designer of tools, of documents, of artifacts. It could also be you're a designer of a space, the technology, the platform, how people communicate. And interestingly, yung mga team building also, you can also be designers of cultures, designers of relationships, designers of values and team dynamics. So, palawakin po natin yung perspective natin. And we'd like to encourage you as we share some of our tips and some of our ideas in this call. Pwede po nating balikan, ano nga ba yung mga dinedesenyo ko? At ano ang mga pwede kong baunin mula sa talk na to para yung pag-design ko ng mga iba-ibang ways of working sa aking organization ay baka pwedeng maging mas makatao, mas malikhain, um, mas uh, mas inclusive, and mas, empathic or empathetic. Ayun, tara. So, para rin mag-guide tayo sa overall process ng magkukwentuhan natin ngayon, ito yung tatlong guide questions na susubukan naming sagutin. Ganito rin yung structure ng aming talk ngayon. Magsisimula tayo sa bakit or sa purpose. Why? Why is empathy important in the workplace? Ano ang kanyang halaga? Second, what's the power of human-centered design in creating a productive workplace? We'll talk about our process of design. Kaya po sinabi namin na you can think about and access and pay attention to what you design and how you can um, perhaps apply some of the tips that we can share with you. And speaking of tips, that's our third question. How can we design a productive workplace with empathy? And ito yung three questions natin. Alright, handa na ba tayong lahat? Let's see sa chat kung meron pa. Ayan, marami pang mga sumasagot. Ayun, thank you. So, sige, magsimula na tayo. Bakit nga ba mahalaga ang empathy in the workplace? At actually, magsisimula ako sa isang kwento. Medyo ano ba, kilabot in a way, parang nag-tie to miming siya in a way. And hindi ata alam ni na Gabby to From Positive Workplaces. Kasi we got the invitation to do the talk last month pa nung January and we said yes. Um, pero recently and especially during the past few weeks, lalo na nung Monday, particularly, so Monday lang nitong Lunes na to, I really had to do something difficult. I had to do a very difficult action or a decision with my team as executive director, which was um, to share a crisis, to raise the red flag. It's one of the most difficult things that you have to do as a leader. And if you're a manager, you probably can empathize with this. Because if you, as a leader, experience a problem that's really serious for your organization, if you call it a crisis or if you call it a major problem, meron kang dalawang siguro instinct. One instinct ay i-share mo sa team and then bahala na. Or another instinct perhaps is to parang itago muna. I actually went with the latter. The the what was running in my mind at then we were without going too deep into the what the crisis is about, but we've been experiencing it for a while. And um natural as a leader, yung natural na instinct na dumating sa akin is actually the idea of protecting the team. At alam natin, naririnig natin to, there's a lot of us who say that a leader is someone who protects. A leader is someone who defends their team. And so you want to make sure that everything that you do is not to demoralize or destabilize your team. And that's one of the things about expressing when you're in crisis mode as an organization. Does it actually run the risk of destabilizing or demoralizing the team na parang mapapapanik yung mga tao. I was actually thinking, together with my, siguro, my fellow directors and my fellow leaders rin in the organization, I was thinking na parang because we were trying to insulate the team from the seriousness and the gravity of the situations that we were a part of, that we were actually protecting them, that we were empathizing with them. Pero last Saturday, we had a great session with our board of advisors. Nagkaroon ng parang realization, transformative, medyo ano siya, basag moment yung term namin sa hobby, parang nabasag, nagising ka ng konti. It's actually not empathy. It's actually paternalism, or the idea that you're actually over accommodating or thinking that you are serving another, your community or your team, but in fact you're actually um, too accommodating them. Kumbaga para kang magulang na inaalay lahat ng iyong oras at pagod, etc. Pero nakikimkim mo yung problema. And as we know in this, the type of workplaces that we have now in our generation, that actually won't work, particularly for leaders. If you're a leader and this is your style, it's actually one of the most hardest and the loneliest parts of being a leader, because you tend to feel like you don't have anyone to share it with, struggles and the parang ideas, finding solutions. It's really hard. And so yung nung na-realize namin yun, parang shocks, oh ano, baka is it really paternalistic? It is disguised siya bilang empathy, maybe good-natured empathy also, thinking about others. Okay, let's not share it to the team. Let's not raise the red flag. Wag pa muna tayo mag-crisis mode. But it could be, mataas ang empathy perhaps, mataas ang pag-unawa sa ating mga teammates, mataas ang pag-isip in their perspective, pero baka hindi natin nakikita. We could be blinded by this good intention, that we could actually be misinformed or misguided in a sense, na hindi siya nakaka-enable. One of the tips or the ideas that we talked about is maybe show more vulnerability. And this is actually particularly hard, um, especially to those that might be in organizations that vulnerability or emotions is not necessarily welcome or baka frowned upon. Swerte kami sa hobby that it's something that we welcome and we are, we acknowledge as important parts of being a leader. Isa pa siguro that things that I needed to do as a leader is to do more dialogue and conversations as opposed to just sometimes consultations. May slight difference para sa akin. Consultations is me asking very direct questions. Pero you know that if you have direct questions, you sort of know what the answers are. Pero with dialogue and conversations, mas bukas siya with a bit more curiosity. At pangatlo, ito sakit ko talaga. Matagal pa rin siyang, hindi ko pa rin siya nasa-solve up until now. But it's something that we need to temper. And I assume a lot of leaders here might resonate as well, is you need to temper the need to solve or protect teammates. The idea na not showing vulnerability is protecting them, not sharing problems is protecting them, not showing stress or emotions is protecting them, right? That's something that is a new lesson, or parang a lesson that I'm slowly learning now, which I'm sharing now, which is ironic nga kasi nangyari nga lang siya nung Lunes. Um, Ito yung nangyari. So eventually, um, we realized, we decided, sige, parang let's share to the team. We're a team of 19 full-time staff, just so that kung sino kami sa hobby. We're a small knit team. We usually have our Monday meetings, and I started, the meeting, having that announcement, a bit more serious in a way, sharing what crisis we were in, what are we doing, and actually asking for help. We don't know what we have right now, what solutions we have. I need everyone's help. If you're in that situation, baka you might think, hala, baka stress na sila, matatakot na sila about, the future or any other issues about the organization. But in fact, it was the opposite. Here are siguro we have some sticky notes. Sometimes we have our board sa hobby where we can share ideas about ourselves. And dito siguro lumabas yung ano ba, a proud moment of how parang the efforts of investing in relationships and investing in empathy actually led to something na perhaps baka na-dispel yung myth na na idea na kapag magsabi tayo ng bad news, pinoprotektahan natin sila. As you can see here in the notes, it's actually they appreciated being communicated in a much more open way kasi alam nila kung paano sila mag-contribute. Um, Alam nila kung paano sila makakatulong. And I think as if you're a parent also, you can resonate probably with this as well because sometimes we fear that we want to do everything for our children when in fact we have to sometimes let them go. 'Di ba? Na parang we have to trust that sometimes they will be able to take on bad news. Um, ang interesting rin dito, proud rin kasi ako sa team ng hobby. Meron kaming mga what we call these crisis huddles and dito may isang sticky note na lumabas. Kamusta tayo feelings wise? How are we all taking this in? And I think this tells me as a team that I am in the company of the best people to be in a crisis with in a way. Dahil parang merong sense of alaga, may sense of creativity, may sense of coming together. And ito yung itsura lang namin, kailan ba to? Kahapon? Tuesday? Kahapon. Sometimes some of us stopped our work and parang sige tara, let's get together. Yung mga remote team, yung mga nasa in-person team. Slightly serious but also slightly parang action-oriented. Okay, what can we do? What are the solutions that we can take? Um, and I hope this is a scene that many of us, whether you're a leader or a manager, or you don't have a leader yet, you're planning to be a manager, is finding these moments where can we actually be a leader where we can empower. And that's where I want us to sort of bring in terms of empathy. Oftentimes, kapag pinag-uusapan kasing empathy, meron parating tanong na, paano ba kapag ako yung leader, nag-empathize ako, does that mean susundan ko lang lahat ng gusto ng team ko? Does that mean kailangan feelings, kaya parating pinag-uusapan namin yung feelings? Not necessarily the case. Para sa akin, what I've learned, it's a very parang solid lesson recently is the idea that when we empathize, it actually requires two things. Una muna, syempre, kailangan natin magkaroon ng empathy in a way na alam natin, naiintindihan natin, alam natin kung ano yung dinadaanan ng ating mga katrabaho, ng ating teammates. But at the same time, yung quality siguro ng empathy or yung intention ng empathy natin ay hindi paternalistic in a way na para tayong magulang na ibubuhos lahat para sa mga teammates natin or para sa mga anak natin, parang ganun. But also something that will allow them or give them space to contribute, to maybe feel the stress, share the responsibility. Um, in a way, parang sharing the burden, but not in a bad way, sharing, the agency that they can take action in the organization. And that's essentially what we're going to share with you. It's the big question that I actually am thinking now that I'd invite all of us to think about. When you think about empathy, it's not just about putting ourselves in the shoes of others. It's not enough because sometimes good-natured empathy, if you put ourselves in the shoes of others without intending to be, without the parang intention to be enabling, we might end up being more paternalistic. So ang goal po natin, paano tayo magiging empowering? Sensing our colleagues, makakamusta natin sila, maintindihan natin sila, how they really are, but in a way that enables them to thrive in our workplace, not in a way that that only we ask them but then we decide in the end na in the end na tayo rin yung gagawa ng lahat. It's really us thriving together. And so just to share that, just to share some interesting statistics in a way, and also to talk about this as well. Na there was a recent global workplace survey conducted by Gallup, and we're big fans of Gallup. We also have Clifton Strengths on our team. Kung meron man sa inyong interesado sa Clifton Strengths, pwede tayo mag-nerd out in a different call. Pero ngayon, share ko lang na in part of they did a global survey about workplaces. And there was a slice of Filipino respondents. 45% of Filipinos in the survey experience daily stress. It's actually the highest in Southeast Asia. 23% of Filipinos experience daily anger. Um, that's quite high. These are higher than the average in Southeast Asia and higher than the average globally. Pero siguro some of us might be using some of these tools also in our organizations na meron tayong maybe employee engagement surveys or sensing surveys. Pero the thing that maybe that went into my mind as I was thinking about this is they experience daily stress, but what type of stress? Saan galing yung stress nila? Stress from work, stress from life, stress from traffic. Baka taga Manila sila, tapos nagko-commute sila 2 hours, 3 hours every day, yung ganun. So there's a lot of things. And I think ang gusto ko lang i-point out dito is empathy really takes a lot of effort, takes a lot of information. Hindi natin kaya makuha lang siya from a statistic. Mahirap siyang ma-generalize. It really takes a lot of human, ano ba, parang analysis, pakikiramdam, which is a big value sa atin sa pagiging Pilipino, pakikipagkapwa at pag-unawa nung mga karanasan ng ating mga kasama sa trabaho. So, bakit empathy? Just to highlight siguro and to outline lang bakit empathy. Because it communicates as a leader that one, gets ko, meaning naiintindihan or sinusubukan nating intindihin ang ating mga katrabaho. Pangalawa, empathy communicates value. Mahalaga ka bilang aking teammate. Kaya ako nag-empathize sa'yo or kaya ako sinusubukang intindihin ang inyong kalagayan. Pangatlo, empathy communicates magkasama tayo. Hindi ako ang magsosolve ng problema mo na magiging savior at parang like you said, yung the paternalistic style of leadership, but actually magkasama tayo dito, empathy, kapwa. At I think ito yung napakahalagang lesson that I still, as a leader of the organization for almost 10 years now, parang I still do this as a constant practice and a constant reminder. So siguro rin for all of us, if you are um, developing to be a leader or trying to think about, more intentional ways to develop leadership, empathy is something na siguro hindi mo siya masasabi na check mo lang, empathic na ako. Check. Ganon. Competency framework doon. Tapos na hindi siya ganon. It's really a continuous effort and a continuous practice. So mula dito, kung bakit mahalaga ang empathy, pwede nating ikwento na ngayon, Selena. What can we actually do if we were to operationalize empathy in the workplace? How can we actually do it?
Yeah. Just before I get into this, actually, I want to do a quick check with our classmates here. Sa chat box, pwede po bang on a scale of 1 to 5, gaano ka natural sa inyo ang empathy? Your ability to put yourselves in the shoes of other people, your teammates. 1, lowest, highest, 5, yan. Gaano ka natural po sa inyo ang empathy? 7. May 7 pa tayo. I'm seeing a big range. Grabe pala yung numbers sa chat box. There's ano yung range na nakikita natin? 2 to... Parang may 2 to 10. I even
Meron
saw...
ngang 7, yeah.
Oh, may mga 10 din.
Maraming 5. I think 4 and 5 is quite high.
Oo.
Yeah.
So parang, ang gusto ko, kaya ko po natanong yun actually, kasi siguro bago ko tanggapin na, okay, maybe I am leading now. Maybe I am leading now and happy. Honestly, medyo mababa ang score ko dyan. Empathy for me, maybe mga nasa 2. Parang curiosity for human experiences really does not come naturally for me. So nagsistruggle ako pag sinabing, okay, makiramdam, umunawa, magkaroon ng malasakit. Because, ha? Anong gagawin ko niyan sa empathy? What do I do with that in the workplace? So in the next slide, we're gonna share with you a concrete way to help us paano ba i-operationalize or to actually act on that empathy. So yan. So this is the human-centered design framework that we use in Habi. And baka po may ilan sa inyo na narinig na yung terms na design thinking. Ayan. So just to explain, no, yung human-centered design is a mindset where we put people first. And in this case, put our team members first while solving different problems or finding workplace solutions. Now, yung human-centered design, if we want to turn it into a process or something actionable, we can look at this framework. So, simulan natin basahin natin siya as this. Himayin muna ang konteksto. So, briefly, ito yung inuunawa natin. Ano nga ba yung nararanasan ng mga team members natin? Ano ba yung mga na-observe natin sa behaviors nila? May nakikita ba tayong problema? Or may nakikita ba tayong challenge sa workplace? Yun, paghihimay siya ng konteksto. And then, we go to ambagan ng mga ideya. So pag ambagan, no, everybody contributing. So this can be a brainstorming phase. Once nahimay na natin yung konteksto at alam na natin yung problema, dito na tayo magsisimulang mag-usap tungkol sa mga solusyon. So lahat nag-aambagan ng mga ideya, hindi lang tayong mga leader, kundi lahat ng miyembro ng team natin. Now, pag meron na tayong napupusuan na idea or like a best solution, yan, pupunta tayo ngayon sa bumuo ng prototype. So building a prototype, pag sinabi natin prototype, roughly para siyang draft, trial lang, sample muna, test lang muna, ayan. So pag bumuo tayo ng prototype, what this design approach tells us is that we actually build a low fidelity version of our idea. Subukan lang muna natin. And then in the last phase, ipakita, suriin at ayusin. Dito naman yung nilalabas na natin yung solusyon in the workplace, and then we actually bother to get feedback on it so that we know how to improve this solution. Yeah, sabi nga ni Kevin, mock up lang muna. Yan yung prototype natin. So makikita natin, no? Himayin, ambagan, bumuo, ipakita. And I explained it in a very linear manner. Pero sa totoo lang, in the next slide, makikita natin, the arrows, medyo, it's really not linear. In reality, kunwari, biglang nung nagkaroon ng crisis huddles, kunwari, may announcement si Gerson ng Monday, ako personally, tumalon ako sa bumuo. Okay, ang dami ko ng solusyon na naisip na, sige na, tatry ko na to, tumulong na tayo. Nando na agad. So it can be a really messy process, but having this himayin, ambagan, bumuo, ipakita process is a way for us to actually act on the empathy. Hindi siya empathy for empathy's sake, but empathy so that we can design thriving and enabling workplaces. Right? So, para mas maging konkreto ito, magpapakwento tayo kay Gerson kung paano siya nagamit yung HABI or HABI process na to in our work context. Sige, Gerson.
Oo, kukwento kami ng isa, mabilisan lang muna. Tapos mamaya, pagdating sa huling bahagi ng ating webinar, magkakaroon tayo ng mga exact na tips dito. Pero mabilisan lang muna na isang kwento para ma-imagine nyo. I'm sure sa inyo, meron kayong feedback systems. Kung gusto nyo isulat sa chat, ano yung mga feedback systems na meron kayo sa inyong organization? Baka meron kayong 360 feedback, may mga pangalan ba yung mga feedback system nyo? Paano kayo nagbibigay ng peer feedback, performance feedback sa isa't isa? Or leaders nagbibigay ng feedback sa isa't isa. You can type in the chat. Ayun, 360 feedback, sabi ni Ed na meaningful conversation rin. Yan. So ang daming mga iba-ibang versions. Yan, may coaching journal, ayan, things you did good, things you need to improve, huddles, planning sessions. May kanya-kanya tayo bilang organizations, and I think dito lumalabas rin yung kultura, what works for us, what works for a specific organization or company. Kami sa Hobby, we actually have our own process kasi anong kapag kunyari meron tayong boss, tapos yung boss natin tinawag tayo sa office niya para kunyari pagalitan. Usually yung tinatawag, 'di ba, parang hala, sasabunin ako or baka sabunin tayo. So actually doon nagsimula yung pangalan nung 2019 when we were thinking about ano ba yung pwede nating gawin. There are a lot of our team members na naghahanap na ng proseso kung paano ba natin um, mabibigyan ng mas intentional na feedback, mas constructive na feedback ng isa't isa. Dito na buo ang proseso namin. Ang tawag namin dito na sabon. Sabon stands for situation, aims, barriers, opportunities, and next steps. Ito yung proseso namin. So actually, nung unang beses namin ito na ginawa, it was really a prototype. So kaya yung sinabi nga ni Selena kanina, na design thinking sa human-centered design process, sometimes hindi siya ganun ka-linear. Yung paghimay namin at that time siguro, mas ano lang, sinense lang namin. Nakikita namin sa feedback, maraming humihingi na teammates ng parang mas structured na feedback sessions. Kailangan, natatakot sila masabon, ayaw naman nila na maging threatening yung session na to. So kaya namin siya linigyan ng mas siguro humorous approach. And si Mr. Clean, hindi kami sponsored by all means, pero ginamit lang namin siya na graphic. So after a while, we were doing it since 2019. Na-realize namin na hindi na siya ganun ka-effective. Nag-translate, nag-online, nag-pandemic na tayo. So dati, yung sabon sessions namin in person, may papel kang gagamitin as you can see here, a sample one. Tapos nung tinry lang namin, nagkaroon ng mga consultations, nagkaroon ng mga kumustahan. Uy, kamusta yung sabon sessions natin ngayon? Hindi siya nasi-schedule, hindi siya nagiging as effective. Um, Naghahanap kaming ibang paraan. So yun yung isang paraan kung paano namin hinimba yung konteksto. Merong iba sa amin na nagtanong, ano ba yung hinahanap niyo sa sabon? Paano niyo ba siya mapapaganda? Paano siya kumpara sa ibang mga activities natin as a team? Surveys, PMs, chats, huddles, meetings, all of that. Paghihimay lang ng konteksto. Pagkatapos namin nakuha yung mga yon, tsaka kami bumuo, nagsama-sama. I think at that time ako, tapos ang operations director namin si Bernice at yung bago naming people and culture officer at the time, umupo kami sama-sama, tapos nag-isip kami, okay, paano ba natin mapapaganda tong bagong proseso na to? So sa ambagan, tulad nga ng nabanggit ni Selena kanina, a lot of it is brainstorming kung saan inviting people to give their ideas, basta malinaw kung ano yung problema or basta malinaw kung ano yung konteksto. Pag hindi kasi malinaw yung konteksto sa simula, minsan yung mga ideya natin nawawalan ng resonance or hindi siya nagiging akma lang. So kailangan mahalaga yung paghimay bilang paghahanda sa pakikipag-ambagan ng mga ideya. Simula doon, meron kaming naisip, may mga lumabas na ideya. What if magano tayo, kaya ba natin na isang buong araw yung sabon? What if gumawa tayo ng sabon kit? Um, hindi na siya Manila paper, etc. Yung mga ganyan-ganyang bagay. So, siya kami bumuo ng prototype. Pakita ko lang, may mga rough prototypes kami dito. It's really prototypes, like sabi ni Kevin sa chat kanina, it's really building mock-ups, making your ideas a bit more solid. Kasi pag mas solido yung ideya natin, mas mapapakita natin sa ibang kasama natin, mas magigets nila kung ano yung susubukan natin gawin, mas makakakuha tayo ng feedback. And in a way, empathy rin dahil nakakatulong to sa empathy dahil kapag meron kang prototype, makakakuha tayo kagad ng immediate feelings, responses, reactions mula sa teammates natin at mas mapapaganda natin siya. So it's also prototyping is a way to sense an idea whether it might fly or not. Kung para sa iba, sometimes natatakot tayo, feeling natin sayang sa oras pag mag-prototype, diretso ng implement, wag na natin i-prototype. Pero actually, makakatipid siya kapag hindi ka sigurado kung ano ba yung magiging reaction or magiging traction ng isang ideya nyo internally or anywhere, a process. It actually saves money. Kasi for example, itong pinapakita ko, this is a prototype paper kit. Scratch paper lang yan. But it actually, asking for feedback from this kit actually allowed me to learn a lot more, saved me a lot more in terms of printing costs, saved me a lot more in terms of production costs, in terms of time, just by taking an extra step of prototyping, sa pagbuo ng prototype. And then finally, suriin at ayusin. So ito yung naging resulta namin. Nakabuo kami ng mas ibang version ng sabon. Ito yung latest version namin. Kit na siya. Tapos isa siyang buong araw. You design it yourself. Para siyang pupunta ka sa spa. Reflection day. Para siyang sabbatical in a way na one day you get feedback, you get time to reflect para talaga protektado yung oras ng bawat team member namin. At tulad ng binanggit ko kanina sa first step, we're still designing it dahil ang sabon namin, it started ng 2019 at hanggang ngayon, siguro every month, pinag-iisipan pa rin natin, paano natin ito isa-schedule, may babaguhin ba tayo dito? Every time nagbabago siya. And I think makikita nyo mamaya kapag nagbahagi na kami ng mga mas concrete na steps kung paano nyo mapapractice ang human-centered design sa inyong mga organizations. It really takes a mindset shift that if we want human-centered organizations, humans change, therefore, organizations have to change. It's hard to really keep things. There are some room for standardization for sure, but you have to leave room in your ways of working or in your systems for some flexibility, for some grace, for some human changes or shifts. At lalo na pag nagbabago-bago ang teams natin, ang composition ng organization natin, um, magbabago yung reaction to some of our processes and some of our protocols in our workplaces. So yung isang quick na halimbawa lang, himayin ang bagan bumuo, ipakita. And if you're ready, would like to start sharing with you some actionable steps. So dito pwede na kayo siguro maghanda ng mga tanong or yung mga pen and paper nyo. Think about the things that you designed or that you are designing as managers or as leaders, as officers, as members of your respective organizations. At magpapakilala kami ng ilang mga actionable steps that you might want to try. Yun,
Yeah.
para maging empathy-powered and human-centered ang ating mga workplace.
Yeah.
Sige, pasa ko sa'yo, Selena.
Yung nabahagi mo na, Jerson, parang buo siya na HABI. And just to note, hindi po yun nangyari in one day. It happened parang ilang years ata ito, parang non-stop po siyang nangyayari. So, ano rin, yung pag nag-human-centered design tayo, hindi rin natin kailangan i-pressure yung sarili naman natin na, hala, buong-buo na HABI, tapos we do it instantly. So, ito, we're gonna go through the framework per phase ulit tayo, starting with himayin ng konteksto. Tapos, along the way po, mag-share kami ng tips. And baka po may mapulot kayo na nuggets na, uy, kaya ko na itong itry mamaya or pwede ko na ito
Yeah.
bukas. So go ahead, whatever works for your context right now, go and try it. So start natin yan, himayin ang konteksto. Kanina nabanggit ko na yung pinaka-goal natin dito is really to understand the needs, the challenges, and if there's something that can be improved or designed better in the workplace. So pwede natin siyang tingnan as two major activities that we do. Jerson, baka ang dami mong students dito sa webinar natin. Nagugulat ako through the chat. Baka nagamit nyo na rin to in classes with Jerson actually, because we really use human-centered design processes extensively everywhere. So in himayin ng konteksto, two main activities that we do. First is sensing, and then there's sense making. And pag sinabi nating sensing, what we want to do is really just gather data, collect information here. We want to ask questions. Dito, makikiramdam tayo at mag-o-observe tayo. Right? And then, hindi din matatapos yun na, okay, napansin ko, ganyan siya. Nakita ko, ganun yung ginawa niya. Hindi matatapos doon. We actually go into sense making where we want to process the information that we get. So processing, harvesting insights, synthesizing, looking for patterns and trends in the observations that we have, right? Now, how do we actually, how might we concretize this? Or pwede natin i-practice actually with this group right now. Let's try in the chat box siguro. I have a curiosity. Naisip ko kasi baka universal experience ang meeting for us, no? Meetings or huddles kung ganun ang tawag natin. What do you sense in your teammates' meeting behaviors? Ano po yung mga napapansin ninyo? Kapag may team meeting kayo, may mga observation ba kayo tungkol sa mga teammates natin without naming names, maybe? What do you notice? May mga kinakabahan, nervous. We notice that some are attentive, tahimik, bored. They look bored. Nakikita natin na may mga signs of boredom. We see blank faces. Hindi nagka-focus. Oh, sige, Jerson, what are you seeing? May bibo, may tahimik. Alright.
Marami, oo.
Yeah.
Ang
Yan.
interesting dito, halo-halo sila dahil some of them are, siguro kung magiging technical tayo, mas behavior talaga siya na observation. Tulad ng
Yeah.
empty, response, ano ba yung iba? May bibo, may tahimik, quiet, cut someone off, off camera, on camera. So yun, mga parang behaviors talaga. Pero
Yeah.
napansin ko, may iba rin na siguro parang siguro one level deeper na parang ina-assume or iniisip na natin kung ano kaya ang nararamdaman ng teammates nila, which are
Yeah.
anxious, nervous, bored,
Bored.
o open-minded, yan.
Yeah. So dito, yeah, thanks for engaging, no? Pero dito, ibabahagi ko sa inyo na, for example, in our context, some of the things that I sensed in our teammates, parang pag 1 p.m. yung online meeting, parang mas madaming nalilate ang pasok. O kaya, kapag nagmi-meeting kami, yung nabanggit ni Jerson na Monday meetings, unti lang yung nag-on ng camera. Yun. So, I can be quick to assume na, hala, laging late, parang hindi dedicated sa work. Or pwede ko nang sabihin na, hindi nag-on ng camera, ano ba yan? Baka wala naman talaga siya dyan, di ba? But those are assumptions. But when we really try to understand the context, we look into we stay curious longer and try to understand what's really going on with our team members. So doon namin mas naunawaan, for example, things like during lunch times, while some of us, kain na lang ang problema natin, no? Handa na yung pagkain. Yung iba, sila yung magluluto. Some will have to feed somebody else in the household. Others will have to wash the dishes or do chores after. So the 1 p.m. meetings are really challenging for them to attend. Or for example, when the cameras are off, even in a school setting, some teachers can assume na wala yan, di na ma-attend. Nag-log in lang sa Zoom, wala naman siya dyan. But really asking questions like, uy, just noticed na off lagi yung camera mo. Oh, kasi ang hina ng internet sa bahay, sorry. O kaya hindi pa sila nakakapag-ayos, so they don't feel comfortable to reveal themselves, but it doesn't affect how present they are and engaged in the meeting. So yun. Sensing and sense making, understanding the context of our teammates. Now, how can we actually do this in smaller steps? Some things that we can try. Ayan. First thing is something that I actually read kanina in the chat box. Check-ins. Check in with your team members. And in Habi, I'll share with you that every single meeting, kahit pa 10 times kami mag-meet ni Jerson in one day, mag-check-in at mag-check-in kami every time mag-start yung meeting. So, prompts like, anong power pose mo today? Yan, pwede siyang movement. Anong luto ng itlog ka ngayon as you enter this meeting? Or how's your energy coming into the huddle? Pwede rin ganun. So really, these questions are not icebreakers, but these are check-in prompts to acknowledge how they are feeling in the moment, allowing us, leaders, to understand their contexts better, right? Another thing we can try is collecting and analyzing data. And I'll share with you that in Habi, every 2 weeks, no? Every 2 weeks.
Every 2 weeks.
Everyone is invited to answer what we call an enabling environment survey. And nakita nyo, V3 na. Talaga pong nag-iterate. Version 3 na siya. So this enabling environment survey has different items like, I feel creative. I feel trusted by my team members. Or I have work-life harmony, stuff like that. So these are the important aspects of our work which we want to get data on. So yung mga team members namin, we collect actual data from them. And hindi basta kino-collect yung data tapos kami-kami na lang na, oh, okay naman guys. Hindi ganun. We actually look at the data and learn from the data. Pag may na-spot na problema, parang bumaba tayo sa pagiging creative. Bakit kaya? Yun. So hinihimay namin yung konteksto. Right? And then my last tip for now is to actually not just focus on problems, tensions, barriers, yan, but also look at things like strengths, for example. And in Habi kasi we're very big on using a strengths-based approach at work. Yung nabanggit ni Jerson kanina na Gallup Clifton Strengths, we subscribe to that. And we actually bother to, one of the most beautiful things, everybody gets to unlock their report. So nag-assessment, no? So kita naming lahat yung 34 talent themes, yung strengths ng mga team members. And then you can generate mga graphs like this to actually explain or show quickly yung data ng team. Na ito yung konteksto natin. And totoo po itong totoo siya. This is actual data. So just by looking at this, we can tell you that the Habi team of 19 people are largely, napakarami yung leading with connectedness as a talent team. A lot have that. Also very high learner and high intellection yung talents sa Habi. But not to discount yung mga mas maliliit. Feeling ko ako nandun ako dun sa mga maliliit na yung Jerson. Yung mga outlier, they are still very important. Yung mga nandun sa influencing themes, yan. But this gives us a picture of the context in terms of leverage points naman or bright spots ng team. Right? Now, let's try the next one. So tapos na tayo sa himay ng konteksto. Let's go to ambagan ng mga ideya. Kapag gets na natin yung konteksto and we identify that there is indeed a challenge here or a problem that we want to solve, something we want to design better, we go into ambagan ng mga ideya kung saan we start brainstorming. Yeah? So I think we have a question for them in the next slide if I'm not mistaken. Yan. Ito, I'm so excited to know your responses to this. Let us know through the chat what were some of the worst brainstorming sessions that you've been to. Ano yung mga na-experience nyo? Pinatawag kayo, uy tara, brainstorming. Pagdating nyo doon, anong nangyari? Yan. Tapos Gabby or Daffy, like, at any point kung meron tayong YouTube sharings, then let us know.
Yeah.
Yan. Go, Gabby. Yeah.
Yeah, we're waiting for
Sige,
answers.
sige.
But they are also having their own chats there.
Ah, cool, cool. Pero ito, we're looking at the Zoom
Okay.
chat box now. Naku, nakarelate ako dun. Pinapunta
Madami.
ka agad yung ideas, no? Pinapunta ka tapos lahat, ay, pangit. I know. Ganun.
Binabaril ng idea,
Yeah.
puro reklamo, ganon.
Oh. Tapos sabi ni Lee, interesting yung sabi ni Lee dito. Suggestion mo, gawa mo. So, na-imagine ko, no, minsan matakot ka nalang magsalita. Pag sinabi ko to, baka utos sa akin. So,
Mm.
wag na lang. Kapag close-minded yung kausap, or yun nga, parang set na sila on one thing, meron na silang gustong marinig. Ano pa? Rejected ideas. Me, myself, and idea ng boss. Ayan. Mostly, merong louder voices na naririnig in the room. Often, the bosses, no, unfortunately. Tapos other ideas, hindi masyadong napapakinggan. Sige, Gabby, do we have some from YouTube now?
We have one, sabi niya pag-usapang budget daw.
Interesting. Natawa si Jerson. Like, joke. Close-minded. Oh, may nag-aaway-aaway also.
Mm.
Oh. Brainstorming sessions can get intense, no? Depende pa yan kung pwedeng dalawa lang kayo, tatlo lang kayo, pwedeng lahat kayo, buong team pinatawag. So, how do we now channel empathy, actually, and act on empathy dito, or empathically rather, in brainstorming sessions? Some things to remember. And in the next slide, yan. As leaders, one thing we want to make sure is lahat tayo ay kasali. And I think sa hobby ko to natutunan na it is not enough for us to actually invite people to a meeting. Basta na-invite kayo, basta nandyan kayo, that's enough. You're represented already. But as leaders, if we really mean to like involve them, we actually have to design systems that will allow them to engage meaningfully. Them means everybody. Walang mas mahinang boses, mas malakas na boses. Pangit na ideya, magandang ideya. Right? So how do we do that? I'll give you some tools that maybe we can try. Starting with ito, adding structure to conversations. So a favorite framework of ours in Habi is bukas, daloy, sarado. And if you're looking at the visual now, no, so bukas literally just open, daloy flowing, sarado medyo pasara na siya. Sarado, sarado, mas deciding na, right? So I'll just quickly show you each part of it. Sa bukas, so here is where we welcome all ideas, kahit wild ideas or seemingly impossible. Wala naman tayong budget para dyan. Anything is okay. And this is where we're all reminded, hindi lang tayo as leaders, but everyone in the room. We give that norm na bukas muna tayo. Let's avoid criticizing ideas and using negative words. Let's just listen to everybody, right? And in the Daloy phase, that's where we actually treat ideas as raw concepts that still need to be developed. So, binibigyan natin ng mas lalim, mas paglilinaw. Kunwari daw, nakita natin na may sinulat si Gerson na idea dito. Sabi niya, no more work on Fridays. I'm like, just can you tell me more about this? Ganyan. So para pag may hindi malinaw, bibigyang liwanag. And also, when we see that there are seemingly connected ideas that we can probably merge, dun natin yung ginagawa sa pagpapadaloy. Right? After natin padaluyin, ngayon, mas naunawaan ng lahat ng mga ideya, sarado naman. And the goal of the sarado phase is where we choose that idea that we want to move forward with. Ito yung pinaka-akma dun sa challenge natin ngayon as a team. So dito, paano tayo mag-arrive with that idea? We have to agree on a criteria as a team. O kailangan na natin ng solusyon bukas. So alin yung pinaka-low effort, minimum effort, madali apply, for example. And then we vote. Everybody gets a vote. Hindi lang yung leaders yung mag-vote. Ayan. So that we come up with the best idea for the collective and not just leadership. Right? So bukas, daloy sarado. So I have another tip for you and something to share. Maximize collaboration tools. I'm not sure. Let us know siguro maybe in the chat box. Do you use Miro or ano ba? Ano ba yung ibang tools natin before? Sometimes Google Slides.
Yeah. Jamboard dati, pero it's being
Jamboard.
disconnected. Yeah.
Yeah.
Discontinued.
Pero yung sa Miro, hindi rin po kami sponsored dito. Pero what we appreciate about it, kasi talagang makikita natin dyan na may mga clustering options na siya, automatic na dati manual. Lahat kami, team, patulong pakiusog ng mga sticky notes. Tapos meron na rin siyang voting option. Meron din siyang timer. So kunwari daw, nagpapadaloy kayo, 5 minutes guys. Kita ng lahat yon 5 minutes para hindi rin siya nagda-drag on. So maybe you can think of how you can leverage the work tools that you have now to maximize collaboration, right? And then the last one for this is, something that Jerson briefly mentioned a while ago. When doing brainstorming, it doesn't also have to be limited to our team lang. We can also get inspiration from the outside world. And in our case, it's our board of advisors. But also, yan yung parang isang na kultura sa school na kapag tumitingin sa iba, copying yun, cheating. I think it's getting inspiration. Yan. As designers who lead, and we want to look at others' ideas for inspiration and just keep on making something better. Right? Yun. So, that's for our ambagan phase. And in the next slide, scissors. Yan. This is a reminder for us leaders that the best ideas can really come from anyone. Some days it might come from us, some days it might come from our teammates, but we won't know if we don't actually give them space to share their ideas. Right? Jers, shall we proceed with bumuo?
Yeah, the third part. So, usually dito, nasa stuck ako minsan sa design process dito, minsan nakaka-stuck. Kasi sometimes madali magtanong, masarap mag-isip, masarap mag-brainstorm. Pero may nagbanggit nga kanina sa chat, idea mo, gawa mo. So, ito yung gawa na part, pagbuo ng prototype. At minsan, kapag gagawa ka ng halimbawa, nakita natin kanina, gagawa ka ng bagong guideline, gagawa ka ng bagong protocol, gagawa ka ng bagong sistema sa inyong organization, it takes a lot of effort. May gagawin kang paperwork, may gagawin kang capacity building programs, may gagawin kang communication materials, may gagawin kang meetings, consultations, etc., sign-offs, all of that. Ang daming mga proseso. And I think to save you from trouble, if so that you can ensure that when you start actually building, you are on the right track. Sa human-centered design, meron tayong mindset na prototype early so that you can, if ever you fail early, you fail in a low-stakes manner, and then you learn immediately from it. So dito tayo pupunta sa bumuo ng prototype. Pag bumubuo tayo ng prototype, ang key mindset natin dito ay instead of just talking about an idea, show the idea, what it looks like, what it feels like. Magbibigay ako ng ilang tips kung paano natin ito magagawa. Kung proseso man, flow charting really helps or service mapping yung tawag natin sa um, human-centered design, kung saan nakikita natin ano yung mga different roles ng bawat tao, na kunyari nagpo-propose tayo ng bagong sistema, saan yung decision points, sino yung magiging main contact person, sino yung responsible dito sa bagay na to. Kasi dito pa lang, may na-run through na natin, na-walk through na natin kung anong iba-ibang mga proseso ng bagong ideya natin. And then you can give feedback already. This is actually very empathic and kind, so that you can get early feedback before you implement this, before you add all the smaller details. You can show it in something as simple as a service map. And hindi naman po kailangan ganun kakomplikado yung service map. It could just be a set of sa Manila paper, something as simple as that, or sa whiteboard nyo, just show it what it looks like. Basta malinaw, ano yung action, sinong gagawa nun, at ano ang next step niya, kanino niya ipapasa. So that's one example, service mapping. Kung gusto nyong mas maramdaman ang proseso at gusto nyong dahil nga empathy sometimes also is about the feel. Sometimes hindi natin malalaman yung pakiramdam ng isang proseso until na run through natin siya or na-implement natin siya. So role playing actually helps. This is a photo of a recent role play that we did as a team. We were trying out different roles. And may mga ilan sa team members namin na naglalaro ng Dungeons and Dragons. Isa po siyang role-playing game. At ang ginawa namin, in-apply namin siya. Meron kaming mga roles and hats kung nakikita niyo sa picture. And then meron kaming different scenarios. And we try to test what will happen in each scenario at anong gagawin ng bawat role, bawat person, bawat team member namin. At dito, na-test namin, okay, ito, babagal dito. Medyo mahirap tong decision part na to. Kapag ganitong meeting, kailangan magkakasama tong mga tao na to. So in a very playful, in a short way, like a meeting like this, you can use meetings like role plays where you can really sit together, try a process out, and see how it feels like and understand how you can improve it better. Yeah. Yun yung isa pang pwede niyong gawin. So, una muna, service mapping. Pangalawa, pwede niyo siyang i-role play. Pangatlo, simpleng doing a quick pulse check. You can use a lot of these tools that you have in a in your workplaces, whether gumagamit kayo ng Slack or Facebook Messenger or Viber, WhatsApp, ano pa bang mga Telegram, Workplace, Facebook Workplace, all these other MS Teams, yung iba sa inyo gumagamit ng MS Teams or Google Chat. There are some tools na pwede nating mag-prototype tayo ng quick decision-making processes like this. Para malaman natin sinong pupunta, sinong gagawa, ano yung sensing ng bawat ng kabuuan ng team natin. And babalik tayo sa empathy. All of these ideas, we will never know how it will, feel or run until we actually implement it. So the earlier you try to prototype or build prototypes, pilots, mock-ups, iba siguro tayo ng tawag, the earlier you do it, the earlier you learn about how our team members will resonate with it, how it will maybe support or hinder or impact their work. Napakahalaga ng prototyping. And ito yung isang catchphrase sa prototyping. Fail early and fail forward. So in essence, you're not really failing. Kasi even if you have something, an initiative na hindi siya nag-work, let's say gumawa kayo ng bagong recognition system tapos hindi siya masyado nag-resonate sa inyong team, hindi kayo actually nag-fail kasi pwede niyo siyang gamitin para matuto tayo. Bakit nga ba siya hindi nag-work? Ano kaya yung kultura ng team? Ano yung siguro mas aakma sa pangangailangan ng aking team members? If you learn from it, then it's not necessarily a failure. And that's what prototyping is about. So yun yung pangatlong bahagi ng human-centered design. So nagsimula tayo sa himayin ng konteksto, ambagan ng mga ideya, kakatapos lang ng pangatlo, bumuo ng prototype. At ididikit ko na muna sa pang-apat bago tayo mag-open up ulit ng mga tanong. Ipakita, suriin, at ayusin. Ito yung pang-apat na phase ng human-centered design. Ito yung part na hihingi na tayo ng feedback, implement natin siya. Maybe after a few rounds of prototyping, tingnan na natin, i-run na natin siya. Dito na siguro yung quality assurance, dito na yung mga slight improvements, testing, etc. Ito, ipakita, suriin at ayusin. Magtanong tayo sa chat, Selena, sa mga ating mga kasama dito sa webinar. Meron na ba kayong na-try? Have you tried a new way of working but didn't work? Mga attempts at improving, how you do your things in your respective offices and workplaces. And what did you do if it didn't work? When it didn't work, we're curious to know. What
Yan,
did
baka
you
pwede
do?
ikwento. Ano yun, briefly, and what did you do
Mm-mm.
na hindi nag-work?
Yeah.
Yan. Gumamit ng planner, Kevin. Nung hindi nag-work, anong ginawa mo? Yan, kwento mo sa...
Mm-mm. Oo. Siguro baka may ibang matagal na nagsusulat sa no? Napapaisip ako. Ikaw ba, Selena, meron kang top of mind na isip mo, tinry mo in our in our team, tapos parang hindi nag-work? Anong nangyari? Anong ginawa mo?
Hmm. Ay, alam mo, Jerson, na iisip ko, pag nagpe-prepare ako for team meetings, meron akong tendency to like, prepare ako ng mga workspace. Sabihin ko, ayan, aabot kami dito kasi may 1 hour na.
Yeah.
Never natatouch yung mga workspace ko kasi lagi ako nag-underestimate ng
Mm,
ng time needed
yeah.
meetings.
So, ano nangyari? Nag-change ka na lang along the real time.
Ah,
Gano'n ka?
ang ginawa ko, mas niluluwagan ko na yung meetings. Hindi na ako
Mm,
ambisyosa.
yeah.
Sabi nila dito,
Yeah. Similar to what many of them share dito nga sa chat na lessons learned. May iba nagbanggit rin ng plan A, plan B. Handa sila na may plan A, plan B. That's also a different strategy. Yung iba change strategy na totally. Yung isa reflection pagkatapos, assess what went wrong, plan again. Yeah. Minsan,
papatuloy minsan
mm,
kapag hindi na nag-work yung solution on our own. Yeah.
right. Yeah, correct. In the perfect world, maganda kapag meron tayong parating plan A, plan B, handa tayo parati. Pero most often than not, may mga ibang instances na hindi tayo handa. Minsan kailangan natin think on our feet. And just to give ourselves a bit more compassion as leaders or as managers, na hindi naman parating dapat may plan A, plan B sa lahat ng bagay. Sometimes, the fact na meron tayong tinry, tapos kung hindi man siya nag-work, you can simply reflect on it and learn from it. And then yung sinasabi nilang back to the drawing board. Okay, try again. Trial and error. It's simply just a cyclical process. At siguro kailangan nating matanggap yun na dahil nga kung gusto natin human-centered ang ating organizations at naniniwala tayo na humans, hindi naman tayo lahat robots na pare-parehas, nagbabago tayo, may emotions tayo, meron tayong kanya-kanyang context, meron tayong kanya-kanyang motivations. Kailangan talaga ang ating mga sistema ay magkakaroon ng space para sa mga pagbabago. So, ano ang isang three things na pwede nating itry? First is to accept it. Accept that things will change sa evolution. Ito yung isang tool namin na ginagamit namin since 2019. Um, as an organization kasi, design organization, nag-start kami na meron kaming tawag namin hobby log. Parang team log lang. Parang magla-log in at magla-log out. Tapos oras, doon naka-counting oras namin. Mula doon, na-realize namin, teka, gusto naming malaman kung paano namin siya na-distribute across different projects. So meron kaming isa pang version ng 2020. Hanggang pagdating ng 2021, 2022, medyo pabago siya ng pabago. Ito yung latest version niya, 2024. And I think kung ma-embrace natin yung idea nga na, okay, magbabago talaga, we have to accept that a lot of the things that we do will evolve and actually embrace evolution because it means it will get better and better and better. It is something that maybe perhaps you can plan for. Maybe you can, ang isang suggestion dito, maybe you can plan for evolution. Maybe periodic maintenance, every 6 months, every 1 year, meron kayong binabago sa ilang mga systems nyo. Nag-work pa ba ang ating competency framework? Ang ating feedback mechanisms ba ay nagre-resonate pa rin sa teammates natin? Kamusta ang ating compensation packages? Kailangan ba natin siyang ma-update or kailangan ba nating mabago siya in certain ways? Yan ang mga kailangan nating tanggapin na dapat nagbabago siya. Otherwise, it might lead to us not responding to the needs or the context of our team members. So yung isa, accepting evolution is one tip. Second tip, ito, minsan kapag nagbobotohan tayo at nag-iisip tayo, where do we go or do we accept this change or not? Ang hirap, kailangan ba lahat magvo-vote? Yes, no. Sometimes a yes and a no can be quite strong. So, meron kaming tinatry sa hobby minsan. Ang tawag namin dito ay, I can live with this consensus. Kung saan, kung meron kayong gustong itry na bagong idea or bagong proseso, kung hindi naman siya, mahirap kasi kung yes, no, sometimes kung hindi ganun ka-strong yes, magno-no ka na kagad, di ba? It doesn't end up getting prototype or developed. So meron kaming isang, kung nakikita niyo dito, meron kaming three options in one example. Meron kaming isa na, kung merong let's say pinurpose na bagong sistema, you can choose three things. Agree in essence, can live and move forward with this. So parang, yeah, okay ako in essence. I can move forward with this. Second, agree in essence, I have some suggestions or questions about details. So at least ito nagkakaroon, again, empathy, nagkakaroon ng mas maraming opportunity. Perhaps if there are some of our teammates who might not, who might be affected differently because of this change, they can actually voice out a concern. That's the second part. And the third part, not yet. No, we need more time to discuss and redevelop the proposal. So, even in this case, kung sa proseso nyo ng decision making, try to find options hindi lang yes or no. Baka meron, you can build consensus by simply saying, can you live with this? Pwede na ba ito muna for now? Tapos may ibang team na lang siguro na magdadagdag ng detalye. Um, if you can live with this, then the idea will continue and be polished through implementation. Because it's hard to polish things in a boardroom or in a meeting. It's better to polish things when they're being implemented, as they are being used by some of our teammates. You see the reactions, you see the feedback, mas rich yung data na nakukuha natin. At pangatlo, itong panghuli, paano pa natin ano yung isa pang tip that you can try? Kanina pinakilala ni Celine yung check-in. We also have a checkout. Um, ito yung paborito kong checkout sa mga huddles. What went well? Madali lang ngayon, di ba? Puro W. What went well? This gives you feedback whether, you as a facilitator, or did the meeting reach the purpose, or did the meeting work for this person or not? What went well? What can we do better? It's a simple action, or a simple exercise that you can integrate in your day-to-day routines or activities, and you will get and reap rewards of insight, and also reap rewards of maybe trust and togetherness as a team, because you're communicating as a leader, as a manager, as a designer of these things. You're communicating that you want to understand your teammates better, you want to improve it for them, you want to serve them, and again, enable them in such a way that they will thrive. Yun. So these are 3 tips for ipakita, suriin, at ayusin. At actually dito natatapos muna ang 4 phases nga natin. At tulad nga nung isang nabanggit ko kanina, just to reiterate this statement, no, na mahalaga talagang matanggap natin, lalo na sa theme natin of social emotional intelligence in the workplace. Humans always change. We change, and we need these systems to adapt to these human changes. Kailangan natin siyang matanggap. Kung nagbabago yung generations, nagbabago yung demographics, nagbabago yung contexts, and we've all witnessed this during the pandemic, hindi natin siya inaasahan pero nangyari siya. Ang daming nagbago sa ating organizational system, sa ating ways of working, sa ating leadership styles. And I do hope that through by embracing human-centered design, or trying it out in bits and pieces in your organizations, ay nakakabuo tayo ng mga teams, workplaces, and organizations na mas makatao at mas makabuluhan para sa ating mga kapwa Pilipino. Ayun. I think we can wrap it up, Selena. I'll pass it back to you.
Yeah. Actually, just we can go straight to the framework. Thank you. Thank you for spending the last hour with us. And just to stress, no, bakit nga ba? Ba't mahalaga ang empathy sa workplace? Yan, because it communicates na gets ko, mahalaga ka, at magkasama tayo. And a way to really act on empathy in the workplace, parang hindi na nakakalimutan na workplace pa rin ito. Yan. We can be guided by the human-centered design approach. So, himayin ng konteksto, ambakan ng mga ideya, bumuo ng prototype, ipakita, suriin, at ayusin, or para mas madaling tandaan, HABI or HABI. Ayan. So, with that po, I'll have a few things to share with you. Kasi we understand the 1 hour lang, and to tell you the truth, sometimes you do this for mga 3 months with some of our partners. Pero we did prepare a handout for everybody para po sana ma-share nyo rin sa teammates ninyo, or gusto nyong balikan nyo ilang proseso, happy to try it out. I shared it in the chat, but also when you get when you answer your evaluation later on, you can get it with the certificates also. So that's something we prepared especially for you. And the next invite is, and we've been sharing a lot about how we approach problem solving and how we approach team dynamics in Habi. And really, it comes from a design lens. Yan, with much intentionality and with much value for humans, for our human team members. So if you're interested, kung meron po kayong parang mga team building, we have a different spin on that. Designing for team connection. We like to use Lego Serious Play. Hindi rin tayo sponsored. Ang dami na nating nabanggit. Ayan, Clifton Strengths also something we use. But also for those who are doing mga strat plan, and if you want to try a design lens to that, please let us know. You can email us, kumusta@happyeducationlab.org. And then I have another one here, an invite. I think 2 years ago, I actually did a webinar with Nikki from Positive Workplaces where we talked about learning to change work cultures or team cultures,
Yeah.
power of check-ins. And check-ins, nabanggit po namin kanina, if you want to bring this to your workplace, to your team, we have actually a playbook that we wrote. Nandito na lahat ng mga prompts na mga pwede nyong subukan. It's available for pre-order now. Parang batch 5 na po ata to ng printing. And I will try to find a way because we're happy to raffle off one copy to this group of I don't know how many. Sorry, one of 1,000. Pero yes, we love you.
Raffle.
Ipa-raffle na lang natin. I'll tell Gabby later on. Right? Pero that's a check-in playbook. You can also follow us on our socials. But yeah, Jason, I think we can also give them our personal email addresses.
Yeah.
Where I
Oo.
think it's in the next ones.
Yeah.
Ayan.
Ito.
Ayan. So sabi nga namin sa inyo, medyo classmates level po talaga. This is kwentuhan. We're curious to know how your workplaces are going and if there are other questions that arise after this. Gusto niyo pong mag-collab on something, Jerson at happyeducationlab.org. For me, it's Selena at happyeducationlab.org. And yeah, I'll share our socials also with you. Please, yeah, and if you can follow us para we can keep you updated on our events and offerings also. Yeah, there you go. With that, yeah, thank you. Salamat po. And yeah, we'll give this na to Gabby and Daffy. Thank you for having us.
Thank you. Thank you, Selena and Gerson. Grabe, nag-uumapaw tayo ngayong hapon, not just with what you shared, but can I just say that there are 91 participants in our YouTube channel as well. I think that's the highest number we've had sa YouTube channel namin. So, congratulations. And now I think just being mindful of the time, maybe we can accommodate around 2 to 3 questions. For those of you in the Zoom room, you can just quickly click on the link that Mary will be sharing so that you can put in your answers. So you can log in at pigeonhole.at and enter the passcode PW Puso or just scan the QR code that you can see on the screen. But we already have some questions coming in. Do you want to tackle the top voted ones? There are 4.
Yeah. I'd like to tackle the second one muna.
Okay,
Kasi
go ahead.
we've have experience here. How do we manage change fatigue in an iterative workspace?
Go.
Ah, yes. If you know the answer, tell us. Hindi. Oh, what we've learned so far, what has helped for us is managing change and the pace of change. Sometimes lalo minsan nagpapadala tayo sa usually parang Western mindsets na parang break fast pace lahat. There was one year na yung theme namin, slow innovation. Kasi nirealize namin, sometimes, lalo na dun sa part na ipakita, sorry, Inat ayusin, sometimes you'll never see the actual results of a new initiative until maybe after a few days or a few weeks or a few months even, maybe a year or so. Iba-iba talaga yan ng impact. So minsan there are some times we pulled the plug too early on one initiative. Na-realize namin, oh, maybe tinry pa siguro a few more days or a few more months, baka mas nag-resonate siya. So it's really understanding your pace of the organization. Wala akong masasabi na parang timeline, the best timeline for you. Pero yun yung isa, understanding that there is something of value if you do something slower as well. Understanding kung kailan lumalabas yung impact nyo. At pangalawa, kapag may nagbabago man, ang isang natutuhan ko na nag-work sa amin, always communicate also what is not changing. What is changing and what's staying the same. So that's a good way also to balance stability and at the same time, I guess innovation or changing, seeing what will change. So for example, there was a time where we changed our organizational structure. So ang sabi, we're changing our organizational structure, but what's not changing is, for example, our competency framework. We're still gonna be assessed in the same way. So there's this idea na, okay, at least alam namin kung ano yung scope ng pagbabago. That's one way to also manage change fatigue. Um, Yeah. But other than that, it's really understanding lang and also sensing. Sometimes understanding if you're a leader or a manager, minsan sa'yo makikisabay ang team. So understanding mabilis ka bang usually, is your pace usually fast or is your pace usually slow? It's sensing that as well. Maybe getting more feedback from your teammates. Ako personally, from my strengths, talent themes also, I tend to be on the faster side rin. So I do know na, oh, stop muna, maybe let it simmer. Maybe let, the ideas flow muna for a while. Maybe we won't reach a decision today, maybe next week. So finding those routines or finding the timing. Yeah.
Yeah. Is there anything else you
May
wanna?
dagdag ka, Selena. Oo.
Yeah.
Yeah, meron akong gustong ibang sagutin na nakita ko kanina.
Go ahead. Which
Yung, how do you deal with coworkers who don't contribute to brainstorming? Selena 3 years ago would say, ay nako, kakainis. Maiinis lang ako. Hindi, pero as a designer, I would approach it with more curiosity. Like, why? Why are they not contributing? Or are they really not contributing? Or what is it about the system that does not allow them to contribute?
Yeah.
So, titingnan ko yung design ng brainstorming session. Doon ako magsisimula than really, uungkatin ko yung pagkatao nung hindi nagko-contribute. So, things like, nag-attend ako, Kevin, ng session mo about psychological safety. That has been a recurring concept ngayon na lumalabas in a lot of these brainstorming and meetings really na parang we also experience this until now. There are teammates who are not very comfortable to really share their ideas habang raw pa. And it's a muscle kasi. Muscle din. So we have to acknowledge it's a muscle that you just, exercise. Hindi siya instant na just because nagpabukas daloy sarado ka, lahat ay kaya nang sumabay doon.
Mm.
Another thing would have to be, siguro, in relation to talent themes, acknowledging that we all have different strengths. Some people are like, they're good with ideation. So I would ask instead, if they're not thriving in brainstorming, where else in the design process might they thrive? And then maybe I'll busy myself, tapping them there instead of pipigain ko sila sa isang bagay na hindi gaanong energizing for them. Ikaw, just like
Yeah.
other thoughts in this?
Ako, ibabalik ko sa psychological safety rin. And there's one framework, I forgot the name. Hindi ko rin alam kung that's what you used, Kevin. But the main basis of psychological safety where you can contribute is you have to feel a sense of belonging. So that's also something to be curious about. Nararamdaman ba ng teammate natin na kasama sila, bahagi sila? And that's the purpose of bukas eh. Kaya tayo nagbubukas sa simula. Kasi kahit na hindi pa magaling ideya niya, dahil hindi lang siya nakarinig ng criticism, I'm sure parang we would be more likely to contribute. And for all of us who shared na ayaw natin yung mga brainstorm sessions pag binabaril kagad yung idea, that communicates that maybe you're not smart enough for this group. You're not eloquent enough for this group. You're not confident enough for this group. And therefore, tendency, they will just not contribute. So a bit more sensitivity siguro and sensing, and empathy again about what do we communicate aside from the mechanics, aside from the purpose? Ano pa yung nako-communicate at perhaps hindi natin nako-communicate bilang mga leaders at managers?
Yes, thank you so much. Bale, tatlo yun. Parang tatlo siya to summarize. We had systems, like see if the systems are favorable for them to contribute. Strengths, di ba? If ideation is a strength, by the way, top 5 ko yun. Kaya, pag kailangan mag-ideate, Nikki always tells me, oh, Gabi, let's do this. Batuhan tayo. Ganyan. Tapos, the last one is really establishing that sense of safety through making people feel that they belong.
Yeah.
Maybe you can answer just one more, but we'll forward the questions to you afterwards.
Sige. Yeah. Tapos kung gusto niyo po email, pwede tayo mag-usap. Let's continue talking then. Just ikaw na pumila if you want the last one.
Gusto ko lahat eh. Teka lang isip ako.
Hanggang 4:30 p.m. bukas po pala kami dito. Willing po kami. May upvoted
Gusto ko yung three.
three.
Sorry, 3 votes. Yung practice empathy in larger organizations.
Yes, there you go.
Although hindi, Share ko siya dahil I've also had a chance to work in larger organizations as well. Whether as a faculty member or in schools also that I was a part of, or in other organizations pre-Habi. Um, Habi kasi is a small organization, 19, but even then, 19 is tough already if you imagine the capacity of the headspace of a leader or manager to think about, 19 individuals. That's really tough. So I think ang isang slowly ang natututuan ko dito um kung if you manage or if you feel as a manager that you're not um being spread too thin, then possibly you are. Yun yung isa. Trust your gut. That probably are being spread too thin. And that means you have to empower more leaders to help give you the right decisions. So it's not just on you as a single leader. Perhaps you can be a group of leaders. Or find, so yun yung second approach ko would be just to um, reevaluate your structure, reevaluate whether kung if you follow a more hierarchical like reporting lines or if you want to do more informal parang group buddy systems so that you can just spread the load of sensing each other and at the same time finding ways so that you can connect as a larger team. So yun yung second. Third, which I would also suggest is find pockets of empathy. Hindi naman kailangan 1 hour one-on-ones kayo parate with everyone. Make those small interactions count. Nag-chat sila, merong tinanong sa'yo na quick lang. Sometimes it can be very transactional sa chat. Uy, Jerson, kailangan ko ng chu ganito. Okay, here you go. Done. Tapos na. Um, and something that I'm still, practicing, hindi ko siya masasabing confident, pero nakukuha ko siya ng tip parate, is always to find moments of smaller, empathy. It doesn't always have to be gagawin mo sila ng empathy map, gagawin mo sila ng profile all of the time. There are moments where you can show and communicate that you are trying to understand them, you're interested in them, you want to give them attention. So even if you're managing larger teams, finding small bits of pieces of that is important as well. So yun, yung isa, parang sense with yourself. Are you really spread thin? If yes, then trust your gut. Second, would be to find ways to empower more people as leaders. Hindi naman kailangang managerial parati to. Leadership is not necessarily part of, authority. Leadership can be, a value that you have. Even the most junior person on your organization can still be a leader. And then the third one is find pockets of empathy. Um, yeah.
Anything else you wanna add, Selena? Nag-thumbs up na lang siya.
Ipo-promote ko yung webinar niyo na next. Yung I think there's something coming up about small talks.
Yes.
Mm,
Hindi ako believer na small talks dati, pero I think yun yung sinasabi ni Jerson na pockets of empathy,
yeah.
that one. Also, sharing the load, yun, i-reiterate ko yun na yung empathy din talaga, it's a team culture thing. It's not a leadership thing at all. So tayo rin as leaders, makakaramdam tayo yung parang may fatigue ka na parang wait lang, bakit
Yeah.
ako lagi ang umuunawa sa'yo? It doesn't have to be the case. If you build a team culture where everybody is really just, exercising empathy, then that's it. It's possible. Kahit gaano kalaki siya na team. Yeah.
Yes, thank you so much. I know we have a lot of questions. We'll send them to you via email. But in the interest of time, Gerson and Selena, are there any last words you'd like to leave our participants?
I think more like a checkout because we would love to
Go
know
ahead.
what you're picking up from the session
Ah,
together. So magtatanong na lang kami. What's one thing that you want to try doing differently once you leave the Zoom call? Yeah. Once you leave YouTube, pag na-exit nyo na ang tab nyo, what is one thing you want to try doing differently? We're curious to know. Yeah. We're seeing responses. Yeah, go on. Gabby's go lang habang pumapasok yung responses nila. We'll read it.
Ayan,
Yeah.
you want us to read some of it para others can
Kung sa,
also
kung sa, sa YouTube, if you have any, go lang.
wait.
Check in, check out, listen.
Yeah, the hobby framework.
Yeah.
You're gonna always empathize, find moments. Yeah, listen to the most silent member in the community. Yeah, learn to listen. Mm. Ask how they're doing, non-work related. Yeah.
Starting with itself, yan, also.
Yeah. Accept evolution. Mm.
Mas daloy sarado. They want to try sabon? Someone to try sabon also. Yeah, thank you. Thank you, everybody. Again, please talk to us. Yan. We left our contact details and
Yeah.
we'll continue talking. Thank you so much again for your
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jerson and Selena. And as a way of expressing our appreciation for your time and sharing your expertise this afternoon, we are presenting to you the Certificate of Appreciation. And I'm calling in Daffy to read the citation.
This certificate of appreciation is issued to Selena Buensuesco. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry if I'm reading it wrong.
Buen
For
suceso.
Jenner
Yeah.
Okay lang. Empathy
Buensuesco.
for Daffy. Buen success. Yes.
Buensuceso. Okay. This certificate is issued to Selena Buensuceso for generously providing their time and expertise as a resource speaker for the webinar Puso sa Pamumuno, How to Design Productive Workplaces with Empathy, held on the 21st of February 2024. Signed by John Baluyot, Chief Enabling Officer, Positivity and Productivity in the Workplace Incorporated, and Nikki Vergara, Chief Wellbeing Officer of Positivity and Productivity in the Workplace Incorporated.
And
Salamat.
we're
Thank
also
you.
presenting the same certificate to Jerson Abesamis. Thank you so much, Selena and Jerson, for gracing us this afternoon. We know that your schedules are really full, kaya salamat po talaga for bringing these ideas to our learners, and we hope that they will be able to practice it in their own workplaces. So again, we're inviting you to join us again next week for the last webinar this February, The Underestimated Power of Small Talks, How to Have More Energizing and Meaningful Conversations. It will be led by Mary Jed A. Busa, RPM and GDAPP. She is a positive psychology practitioner, and we'd really love for you to learn from her as well. So if you enjoyed our webinars and you also want to engage us as training providers, or if you want thought leadership posts on well-being, positive psychology, as well as organizational development, please follow us on Facebook. We also have our other social media channels on YouTube. You can watch all the previous webinars we have there, and we also have our Instagram page. So we are also sharing the links in our chat box. We also have the positive communication course coming up in April. So please do check it out. See if your teammates need